Welcome to the Aboriginal channel. This episode will be another read from Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Primo. So right here at section 5512 says discoveries at Cherokee. In 1875, Amos Bowman, a part-time assistant to the Geological Survey of California, told of finds made at Cherokee a few miles north of Oroville in Butte County. One of the mortars found by Mr. R.C. Pullham of the Spring Valley Mining Company was taken out of a shaft he dug himself in 1853 and was found, according to his testimony, 12 feet beneath undisturbed strata. About 300 feet east of this shaft, Mr. Frederick E. Holtz took out in 1853 a similar mortar at a greater depth. I visited both places with Mr. Pullham and found several mortars still laying around on the top of the blue gravel bench, which is not yet mined away. The blue gravels in which Pullham and E. Holtz discovered mortars were immediately underlying the auriferous gravel formation and the volcanic outflows near Cherokee. E. Holtz gave further information of discoveries at another site near Cherokee, Bowman stated. He told me further that in 1858, while engaged with Wilson and Abbott in mining in the southwesterly part of the Sugarloaf, he found in place 40 feet under the surface a mortar of the same sort in unbroken blue gravel. This blue gravel nowhere comes to the surface, and it extends with the before mentioned white and yellow gravel under the Sugarloaf and under the Oroville volcanic mesa. It appeared only on the bottom of this claim. He was picking the blue gravel to pieces with a pick when he found the mortar, which was a portion of the mass of cemented boulders and sand. He picked it out with his own hands. There were similar cases from Trinity and Siskiyou counties. Goes on to say that George Saucedo of the California Division of Mines and Geology, Personal Communication, reported that the blue gravel is older than 23.8 million years. According to a study by R.S. Creeley in 1965, published in the Bulletin of the California Division of Mines and Geology, the blue gravel is Eocene, or over 38 million years old. The implements found within this blue gravel would thus appear to be at least 23 million years old. And this is what they mean when they say a mortar. This right here, this stone bowl with the crusher. In another section in the book, it talks about Alabama in section 385, the pebble tools. The crud stone tools of Bed 1 in Old Duvoy, Jorge, Tanzania, are also paralleled, interestingly enough, by pebble tools from Alabama, USA. They are almost identical in form. These stone tools, reported by archaeologist Daniel Jocelyn, can be found in greater numbers in certain surface sites where they are mixed in with artifacts from a variety of Native American cultures. Pebble tools are usually associated with very primitive levels of culture not thought to have ever existed in America. Thus, when Jocelyn tried to acquaint other American archaeologists with his finds, he did not receive an encouraging reaction. Rather, as he put it, to my horror, I learned that Polvo could have studied condition reflexes about as well in archaeologists as in dogs. Please believe that I say this with no critical rainer. It was apparently known by some that no pebble tools were made in the New World. So basically, those pebble tools found in Alabama would have discredited a few different theories that they got going on currently. This is the pebble stone right here. It says pebble chopper from Alabama, USA, undated. Such tools usually imply very primitive cultures not thought to have existed in America. Jocelyn said that since the Alabama tools were not from stratified sites, they could not be dated, and he had no suggestion about their age. They could thus be quite recent, posing no threat to dominant views about the arrival of humans in the Americas. So for the last part of this video, we're going to be looking at section 387, early humans in America and the Eolith question. Now, this is an important one because it shows how the game is being played. So it says Eolithic tools have been found not only in America and Europe, but in Australia. They have been described as featuring the casual use of available materials, the lack of emphasis on technological sophistication, the regular discarding of tools after a specific job had been completed, and an attitude which de-emphasizes symmetry, refinement, and systematic continuity in tool types, but instead focuses on the most convenient means of accomplishing the job at hand. The human manufacture of the Australian specimens has been widely recognized in the scientific community. So why are not similar tools found in America granted equal recognition? Goes on to say that some definitely shaped tool, preferably something diagnostic, must be present in order to have acceptable proof for the presence of early man. Anything less is now being labeled a myth, and believers of myth cannot be scientific archaeologists. But if the Australian archaeologists had adhered to such strict criteria, they would not have searched for and thereby recovered evidence for Paleistocene man on that continent. It was realized that the only diagnostic artifact categories may be simple flakes and cores. It was realized that simple retouched flakes are adequate to demonstrate the presence of early man if they are recovered from datable stratigraphic contexts. It is illogical to require the presence of diagnostic shaped tools in America and not to require their presence in Australia in order to prove that the continent was populated at least 40,000 years ago. But if simple retouched flakes are adequate to prove the existence of humans 40,000 years ago in Australia and 200,000 years ago in America, why are they not adequate to prove the existence of tool-making humanoids 2 million years ago in England and even earlier elsewhere? Goes on to say that obviously the great mass of evidence for a human presence in the Pliocene and earlier, as presented in this book, does not fit within the narrow limits of current ideas on human evolution. Many will therefore hesitate to even consider such evidence. This being the case, it can be said that evolutionary preconceptions impose unreasonable constraints on what evidence may be introduced into discussions of human origins and antiquity. Evidence is excluded for no other reason than that it violates evolutionary expectations. Only a ruthlessly selective editing of the totality of paleoanthropological evidence allows an evolutionary picture of human origins to be sustained. One more time. Only a ruthlessly selective editing of the totality of paleoanthropological evidence allows an evolutionary picture of human origins to be sustained. Basically saying that they have edited the evidence to fit the evolutionary picture through the history books, which has all been a lie. So therefore, if it's a lie, then what's the truth? If it's a lie,